Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Student Games Showcase with Continuum from UC Irvine. I'm Jason once again, SGDA President.
I'm Anuj, SGDA Webmaster, and we are here with the team. So feel free to introduce yourselves.
Uh,
Go
yeah,
ahead, go ahead, Nick.
okay. I'm Nick. I did the level design, some 3D art, and the VFX on this.
I'm Bianca, and I'm the producer, and I did the 2D art and also the UI art as well.
Hi, my name is Jorge Torres. I did most of the 3D models and some of the animation.
Awesome, cool. With that, we'll get into, as you all play, we'll get to, you already have a save file. We'll get into our first question of, where are you all calling in from? Are you calling from UCI or somewhere else?
Bianca, do you want to be answering or?
Yeah, so we were all originally from UCI, and now that it's summertime, so we're back in our hometowns. Or at least I am, so LA County area.
Right.
And then Nick.
Oh yeah, I'm in Santa Ana right now, so pretty close.
Yeah, and then I'm about 45 minutes from Irvine in a little town called Whittier.
Whittier, got it. I think that, I don't think I've heard that one, but still, good to have you all here. I'd like to ask how did the game get started? What was the idea of like making this kind of roguelike game what was the idea originally?
Yeah, so we all kind of started off in our capstone group in our university, and then after we all kind of put all our interests together, we had like people who love D&D, roguelikes, visual novels, and we all kind of put it together into this like one game. So we have all our interests kind of here in like different features.
Right. One thing that I thought was really cool in playing the game was I died for the first time because good at video games, and then I started a new run, and then I saw my stats change, and I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, so the stat changing was something that we took heavily inspired from D&D. Yeah, as you can tell, most of them there's like strength, intelligence, dexterity, constitution. All of them are pretty much the same that are related to D&D, but we just wanted something to correlate in our story because we're messing with time, which is a little bit of a spoiler. But every time that you die, you're not the same person. You are going back in time. However, to keep the run a bit more different and new, we give you different stats. So that way when you go in, you can, maybe you have a lot of dexterity this run, so using the bow would be really good, or you maybe have a lot of strength, so using a melee weapon would be better.
Definitely, like that makes for a lot of like dynamic. Like all of a sudden, your choices aren't just I like this weapon, I'm going to use it. It's do my stats work?
Yeah.
Which is a feeling that I have had many times in D&D itself. How was that generally the idea for the whole game, or did things change throughout development? Oh, NPC.
Oh,
yeah. Yes.
We do have some.
We have 3. Bianca, would you like to talk about what our first original ideas were, and then how we sort of got to where we were?
Yeah, originally wanted to have I think like 3 floors, but of course we scoped down and we made sure we focused on 1 floor and definitely tried to refine it.
Right.
And yeah.
I guess that would be something that would be in like the future development, like adding more floors.
This is one of them.
Yeah, that one. So going back on time, we wanted to definitely have this feeling that the first area you kind of go into is a space, a little bit maybe steampunk or just sci-fi feeling that you're going into. And if you pay close attention to the level design when you go into the very first boss room, we wanted to sort of the feeling that there's 2 eras colliding with each other, because it's not just the same textures within the room itself. The flooring is sort of cracking, and there's this sort of steampunk-ish era that's fighting against it. And that was part of our original intent, to have like when you fight these bosses, that when you kill them, you go into a next level before you find the last boss, which is the Lich. But we had about 3 eras in mind, 4 maybe. that the player would go through and fighting in these new different areas where there's a bit more storytelling, there's a bit more just more background story to the whole thing and how time is working within here. But definitely in terms of scope, we had to focus on one area, and so I think once we did that, we were able to just get the game loop going as well as just the whole environment as a whole.
Right. I think that I could even within the background of this, you can see the fact that there's space in the background, so it kind of really helps sell that sci-fi feeling.
Yeah.
We are not on a planet right now. Now, I would like to ask the important question of who is the mysterious bartender?
I think only one person here can answer that question.
Yeah, so that's Orby. He's a little dude. We put him in there because when we were first designing that hub, we wanted it a little more lively because we only had one NPC in.
Right.
And so I had made him. I just liked how he looked, so I made him earlier, and I was like, "Hey, I have a robot." And everyone
that's a good
loves
reason. It. That's a good motivation. Sometimes just if nothing else, do it for Orby.
Honestly, true.
He's a very lovely addition. Every playtest we have and people that run into him, they're like, "Who is this little guy in the corner?" he says "we beep boop," and everyone just loves the little robot. It's so funny. But he is a fan favorite.
Yes, every time someone restarts a run, they always make sure to visit Orby first before
it's
they
like
go
how
back.
in Hades you have an adoring fan in Elysium.
Yes,
you
true.
have to go and say hi.
Yeah. Hades was also one of our big inspirations for when creating this.
Right, I'm definitely getting that feeling of the combat, the top-down isometrics give that feeling, and also the idea of the story that loops in a lot of ways, or the story that's built on loops. But this is different because it's a time loop, not this is not developing the relationship. Or it's different. Yeah, it's different than Hades in a very cool way, very sci-fi way.
Mm-hmm.
What parts of the game are you most proud of?
I believe it's sort of different for all of us.
Right.
But,
each person can answer.
Yeah. But Nick, would you like to start first with what your favorite part was?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be the levels are procedurally generated, which was a very it was a challenge to get that set up, but we put a lot of work into it, and I really like how it turned out. So I think it took a whole month of one of our programmers just dying trying to get this working, and he did.
Yeah,
it.
no, because if it's really easy to know, or as you get more and more development with procedural generation, there's fewer combinations that are wrong technically, so it's harder to find them in order to get them out.
Right. Yeah, that was definitely one of my big focuses during this. Was definitely trying to make sure nothing clipped into each other and stuff like that.
Then Bianca.
Yeah, I would say my favorite part would be creating the boss fights because I thought that was the most collaborative. Everyone's narrative, art, level design, 3D modeling and VFX. Everyone just put their work into it, and they both came out amazing in the game.
Definitely, I thought the idea that of things. Oh, hey, another person crossing over, time crossing over in that way is really interesting. And that does require collaboration. In order to tell the story, we need to be able to work all together. That was awesome. And the procedural generation was also really good. It felt I never ran into a situation where I was oh, this level is unfair. I was I should have dodged a bit. That is on me. And that is super cool. Do you have any plans for the future of the game's development? You mentioned a few levels. Is there anything else items, new mechanics, anything like that?
I know that before we wanted to push this out this last semester, at least for me, I was a bit clobbered with things to do, especially from one class. So we had plans to put in another mini boss, which adding in our bosses, they're really technical, and then the programming side into it, and then after that we have to put in the visual effects for it. But most of it relies on first our concept art and then going into 3D. And that was one of the things we wanted to put in. It's just we're like, oh, we got to focus on other stuff. But I know some of us are like, oh, it'd be super cool to put more work into here. It just really depends on, I guess, the path that all of us take. Because some of us after this, some of us have jobs already. Some of us are still in school, and then some of us are just trying to find something a little different to do. But
Right. Like
yeah.
that's the nature of like capstone projects. Hi, Orby.
But yeah, we definitely do still have plans that we would like to put in. We're just not totally sure 100% if it's like if we will be able to.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Thing
we've
is-
talked. Oh,
yeah.
you can
Oh.
go.
Thank you. One thing we do joke around about is how we have a system to actually create a visual novel based off this.
You do.
So-
There is no jokes. There is a visual novel system.
So we
here
could just
already.
reuse our assets and just create a sister game or brother or a
You could,
sibling
like-
game to it.
something like a pre. I know that I think Ghostwire Tokyo had like a visual novel as like a prequel of sorts that apparently ended up spoiling the game a bit. We don't need to talk about that, but that would be really cool to see, honestly.
Yeah, it's been a fun ideas, especially when we're like all just talking in the Discord. It's very funny. But Nick, you had something to add?
Yeah, we've talked about maybe if there's like a week-long game jam, we'd get together and add some of the stuff we couldn't. But I don't think there's any concrete plans to continue working on it much.
I think that with that, I think that we will ask the final question of: is there anybody you'd like to shout out? Anybody that you'd like to thank? Feel free to mention them now.
Okay. I would love to definitely shout out the rest of our team who couldn't be here. Chase, Jen, Salil, and Sammy. All of them are super amazing, and being with you guys for the past almost year has been a lot of fun, especially Nick and also Bianca. Working closely with Bianca because one, she had to do 2D enemies, and then we had to take concept art and to put into 3D for the bosses. Working with Nick because one, having another 3D artist in there and being like, oh, how does this look, or how does this feel, or can these two things work together? It's been a lot of fun. But I don't think I have anyone else to shout out outside of our community. Our little thing. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, same. It was a real blast working with everyone.
Everyone's
like-
just so open-minded. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Everyone's like very open-minded, so it really helped to just grow our game, and it was like really limitless because our discussions were like really awesome.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. We really enjoyed Continuum. I think that we ended up playing it for a lot longer. and, I think that I remember we were talking about just like how long we ended up spending playing it. Thank you. We look forward to seeing the future development of the game. Feel free to send any links to us so that we can post them in Twitch chat, and we'll be back with the next and final game of the showcase.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
Thank you. Coming up next is Great Nebula Offensive from Chapman University. We'll see you then.